You're holding on to something that's slipping through your fingers every second. It's not money, not relationships. It's time. The very thing you say you don't have enough of. You're wasting it. Every time you scroll, postpone, or say later. What if I told you that later is a lie? That every breath is a countdown? That one day, you'll beg for the minutes you throw away today? This isn't just a message. It's your wake-up call. Because the clock is ticking, and it's not waiting for you. We cling to time, yet we waste it. Every single day, we hold on to hours like they're guaranteed. We chase the clock, checking it in the morning, counting it down by noon, and cursing it by night. But somehow we never stop to ask, am I truly using this time, or just surviving it? We race against deadlines, but procrastinate on our dreams. We wake up with to-do lists, but sleep with regrets. We fill our calendars with meetings, schedules, reminders. But our hearts? They remain untouched, unheard, unfulfilled, and still, we fear growing old. We fear the wrinkles, the gray hair, the birthdays that come too fast. But look closely. It's not age we fear. It's wasted youth, unlived days, unused potential. It's the fear of reaching the end and realizing we were never really alive. We scroll endlessly. We binge distractions like they're medicine for our boredom. But that boredom is a symptom of unlived passion, a life on autopilot. We're busy, sure, but are we living? Time is life's most precious resource, more valuable than money, more limited than oxygen. And yet, we treat it like it's infinite. We toss it away for later. We spend it like it's spare change. We say, I'll travel when I have more time. I'll tell them I love them later. I'll chase my dreams someday. But someday is a ghost. It haunts our future while stealing our present. Because here's the truth. Someday never comes. We tell ourselves time can be stored, that we can save it up like savings in a bank. But time is not money. It doesn't earn interest. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. The irony? Time is always moving forward, whether you choose to live it or waste it. It doesn't stop. Not for your fears, not for your excuses, not for your pain, not even for your healing. It just flows. And we either swim with it or drown in what we didn't do. Think of the moments you said, maybe later, when you said, I'll start tomorrow. One day, I'll be honest. One day, I'll make it right. But that one day is already past. It became yesterday while you were waiting for the perfect time. The trip you never took. The letter you never wrote. The person you never forgave. The you never became. We don't realize we're wasting time until it's nearly gone. We don't realize we were rich in minutes until life hands us seconds. A diagnosis, a goodbye, a lost chance. Then suddenly, time becomes a storm. It rushes. It roars. It reminds you that it was never yours to own, only yours to honor. We schedule meetings, but delay our purpose. We plan for retirement, but forget how to live. We race deadlines, but forget lifelines. So I ask you now, what are you waiting for? The perfect time? There's no such thing. The perfect energy? It rarely comes. The perfect mood? It's a moving target. What if the perfect moment was this one? Right here, right now, as you breathe, as you listen, as your heart quietly asks, can we begin again? We cling to time because deep down we know time never clings back. It doesn't wrap around us in comfort. It doesn't pause when we fall apart. It doesn't rewind to fix our mistakes. It flows silently, relentlessly, and beautifully. Time doesn't punish you. It doesn't come back to blame you. It just moves on, like a river, like wind, like breath, without apology, without permission. And one day, you will look back, not at what you did, but what you didn't do. Not at who you were, but at who you never allowed yourself to become. You'll whisper to yourself in a quiet moment, where did it all go? And maybe, just maybe, a part of you will ache for the minutes you traded for distractions, for the hours spent in fear, for the years lost waiting to be ready. But here's the good news. If you're breathing, you're not out of time. Not yet. You still have this second, this breath, this heartbeat. And that's enough to change everything. You don't need a new year or a new life. You just need one decision. Start. Start small. Start scared. Start imperfect. But start. Because what you do next is what counts. not your mistakes, not your past, not the time you lost. Spend it. Live it. Don't just count the hours. Make the hours count. You cling to time, but maybe now it's time to let go of waiting and start living before life passes you by and time becomes your biggest what if. We all say we want love. We crave connection, understanding, and to be seen for who we truly are. But when it knocks on our door, we hesitate. We pause. We step back. Because love, real love, demands vulnerability. And vulnerability is terrifying. To love is to risk. To let someone see behind a mask. To show your wounds, your scars, your truth. It's not just about flowers and butterflies. It's about saying, this is who I really am, broken, messy, scared, and I hope you won't run. But they might, and that's the fear. Love is the most beautiful thing we experience as humans, but it's also the thing that can break us the most. Because when we open our hearts, we also open the door to rejection, to betrayal, to silence. And so we build walls. We guard ourselves with I'm fine. We protect ourselves with distractions. We tell the world, I don't need anyone. But deep down, we do. We want someone who listens without fixing. Someone who stays, even when we're hard to love. Someone who sees the mess and chooses us anyway. But to receive that kind of love, we must risk being real, being raw, being vulnerable. So many relationships die not from lack of love, but from lack of truth, from the fear of saying, I'm scared you'll leave. I need you. I'm not okay. We're afraid to be a burden, afraid to be too much, afraid to be us. So instead, we perform. We smile. We keep it surface level, and then wonder why it feels so empty. But here's the truth. Love without vulnerability isn't love. It's convenience. It's comfort. It's safety without depth. True love, it requires courage to show up with your fears, to admit your past, to say, I'm scared, but I'm still choosing you. Because love isn't about never hurting. It's about knowing you might get hurt and still choosing to open your heart. Yes, vulnerability is risky, but so is loneliness. So is regret. So is spending your whole life wondering. You can't guarantee how I really felt, but you can choose to show up fully, to love completely, to say, I would rather love and lose than never love at all. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's strength. It's looking your fear in the eye and walking forward anyway. It's saying, I love you without knowing if they'll say it back. It's apologizing first. It's forgiving without being asked. Because in the end, the deepest connection always lies on the other side of fear. You will not remember the moments you played it safe. You will remember the love you gave, the risks you took, the times you showed up despite the fear. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there is waiting for you to be real. Not perfect, not polished, just you. So let go of the armor. Break the silence. Send the message. Say what you need to say, even if your voice shakes. Because love, real love, isn't about staying safe. That's where it starts. It's about staying true. From the moment we wake up, we try to manage the world, control our schedule, control our emotions, control the people around us, control the outcomes. We hold the illusion that if we could just keep everything in line, everything will be okay. And so we grip. We grip tightly to our plans, to our expectations, to the way we believe life should be. But what we don't realize is the tighter we grip, the more we suffer. Because life doesn't obey our control. Control feels safe. It feels like certainty, and certainty feels like protection. We think, if I could just plan it all out, if I can just make sure nothing unexpected happens, if I can avoid risk, avoid failure, avoid pain. But control doesn't eliminate chaos. It just hides it temporarily. And when chaos breaks through, as it always does, we feel even more helpless. It's funny, isn't it? The very thing we chase to feel strong is what makes us feel weak. We try to control people, hoping they won't hurt us. We try to control time, hoping we won't waste it. We try to control the future because we're terrified of the unknown. But no matter how much we plan, prepare, or overthink, life still happens. Think of the moments that changed you, really changed you. Were they part of your plan? Was it the job you didn't get? The The person who walked away? The thing that fell apart? Even after you gave it your all? That wasn't control. That was surrender. That was growth. Because pain isn't always the enemy. Control is when it becomes a cage. We tell ourselves we're responsible, that we're just organizing our lives. But sometimes, control is fear dressed up in discipline. We don't want to be surprised. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to feel helpless. So we build walls. We make plans. We obsess over outcomes. And we call that strength. But real strength isn't a letting go. We weren't built to master every moment. We were built to move through them, to feel, to adapt, to evolve. Even nature reminds us. The rigid tree snaps in the storm, but the one that bends survives and thrives. Letting go is terrifying, but so is holding on to something that no longer serves you. Letting go feels like falling, but sometimes that fall is just flight. So ask yourself, what are you trying to control right now? What fear is hiding underneath that grip? And what would it feel like to finally release it? What would it feel like to say, whatever happens, I'll handle it. I'm still here, still breathing, still capable. That's not weakness. That's power. You're not here to control every outcome. You're here to experience this life, to open your heart, even if it's been broken, to try again, even if you failed before, to trust, even in the dark. So loosen your grip. Let the unknown in. Let the wind guide you. Let life surprise you. You might lose your illusion of control, but in return, you'll gain your peace, your breath, your truth, and maybe, just maybe, that's what true freedom feels like. Let go, let flow, and live. At first, it feels like a void. Empty, quiet, uncomfortable. We look around in silence, and suddenly everything feels louder. The ticking of a clock, the sound of your own breath, the rush of your own thoughts echoing through your head. It's no wonder we try to avoid it. We fill our lives with noise. TVs, playlists, podcasts, notifications, endless scrolling. We keep talking, texting, posting, because when it gets quiet, it gets real. And real can be scary. Silence forces us to face things. It reflects. It reveals. It shows you the loneliness you've been covering with company, the sadness you've been hiding with small talk, the burnout you've ignored behind your hustle, the hurt you've buried beneath a smile. In the silence, there's no distraction, just you and the truth you've been too busy to feel. But what if silence isn't your enemy? What if silence is your medicine? What if, instead of running from it, you leaned in? What would you hear? Not the noise of your fears, but the soft voice beneath them. The voice that whispers, you're tired, you're hurting, you're trying so hard to be okay that you forgot to simply be. We've been taught that silence means something's wrong, that if someone is quiet, they're distant. If a room is silent, it's awkward. If your mind is silent, you're wasting time. But that's not true. Sometimes silence is sacred. It's space. It's stillness. It's the pause between two breaths where healing begins. You don't have to fill every moment. You don't have to prove your worth through noise. You don't have to always speak to be understood. There's power in simply being, sitting in silence, not because you have nothing to say, but because you're choosing to listen to your heart, to your body, to the parts of you that have been quietly screaming for your attention. Do you remember the last time you sat in complete silence, with no music, no phone, no distractions, just you and your breath? It's hard at first. The mind rebels, thoughts race, emotions surface. It feels like too much. But wait, stay there, stay long enough, and something magical happens. The chaos quiets, the body softens, the mind slows down, and you realize you're safe in this stillness. You're okay. You've always been. The truth is, silence doesn't make you lonely. Avoidance does. When you're constantly running from yourself, you'll feel lonely in every crowd. But when you come home to your own presence, you can feel full, even in solitude. Solitude is not isolation. It's intimacy with yourself. And that's the most healing relationship you'll ever have. We don't give ourselves enough space. We think rest is lazy. Silence is awkward. Alone time is a red flag. But in reality, silence is a signal. It's your soul asking you to listen, to slow down, to come back to yourself. It's the moment you stop chasing and start arriving. You're not broken for needing quiet. You're human. You're tired. You're overstimulated. You've been carrying so much for so long. Let silence hold you. Let it rock you like a lullaby. Let it cleanse your thoughts like rain. Let it become your sanctuary. The world is noisy. It pushes you to do more, be more, prove more. But your soul, it whispers something different. It says, breathe, slow down. You are enough, even when you're still. Silence doesn't need to be filled. It needs to be honored. Because in the silence, you don't lose yourself. You find yourself. Some of the most powerful realizations don't come through answers, but through awareness. Not from the outside world, but from within. Silence is the space where your intuition speaks, where your creativity returns, where your heart realigns with your truth. You don't need more noise to find clarity. You need space, and silence is space. Stillness isn't weakness. It's strength that doesn't need to shout. It's the kind of strength that walks away from chaos and sits by the river instead. It's the kind that lets go of performing and starts being real. Think of a time you felt peace, a deep, grounding peace. Where were you? What was happening? Chances are there was silence. Maybe it was on a mountaintop. Maybe it was lying on your back under the stars. Maybe it was that moment after crying, where you were empty but strangely calm. That was silence healing you. Not fixing, not changing, just holding. So stop fearing the silence. Stop filling every second. You don't need to be available to the world 24/7. You need to be available to yourself. Take a moment. Step away. Turn off the noise. Put down the phone. Breathe. And just listen to the soft beating of your heart, to the rise and fall of your breath, to the stillness that's been waiting for you to notice it. Peace isn't loud. It doesn't compete. It doesn't scream for attention. It waits, patiently, quietly, until you're ready to stop running and return. And when you do, you'll realize that silence never hurt you. Avoidance did. Noise did. Disconnection did. But silence? Silence is where the healing begins. So let this be a reminder. You don't always need answers. You don't always need action. You don't even need words. Sometimes, you just need quiet. And in that quiet, you will remember, you're not lost. You're not broken. You are not alone. You are simply becoming whole again, in silence, in stillness, in peace. They say, be yourself. Don't be afraid to be different. Your uniqueness is your power. But the moment you are, everything changes. Suddenly people don't understand you. They pull back. They talk behind your back. They say things like, you've changed. You used to be more fun. You're not the same anymore. But what if you just stop pretending? What if you're not changing into someone new? You're returning to who you were before the world told you who to be? We admire authenticity in quotes, in Instagram posts, in speeches. But in real life, we reward conformity. We praise uniqueness until it doesn't fit the mold. We cheer for being yourself, as long as it doesn't threaten anyone's comfort. People say, just be honest, until your truth makes them uncomfortable. They say, speak up, until your voice shakes their beliefs. They say, we support you, until you stop following the script they wrote for you. From childhood, we learn how to adapt. We're told to behave, to follow rules, to sit still, to smile politely, to be agreeable. And slowly we forget. Forget the fire. Forget the weirdness. Forget the dreams we didn't edit. We become versions of what people can tolerate. And we call it growing up. But is it growth? If you're shrinking to fit in, every time you silence your truth to avoid conflict, you abandon yourself a little more. Every time you wear a mask to be accepted, you blur the lines between who you are and who they want you to be. And one day you wake up surrounded by people who know your name, but don't know you at all. Not because they didn't care, but because you never gave them the chance. You were too busy performing. Authenticity is not easy. It's not safe. It's not always applauded. In fact, most of the time, it's met with resistance. People will question you, judge you, distance themselves from you, because you being real might expose the fact that they're not. And that's hard for them to sit with. But here's what's harder: living your whole life in disguise. Showing up every day as a version of yourself that isn't whole. Not because you're fake, but because you're scared. Scared to be rejected. Scared to be alone. Scared to take off the mask and have no one recognize your face. But let me ask you something. If the people around you only love the mask, do they really love you? Authenticity comes with a cost. You will lose people, opportunities, comfort, but what you gain is worth far more. You gain peace, integrity, clarity, self-respect. You get to look in a mirror and see someone real, someone whole, someone who isn't performing for applause, but simply breathing in their truth. We're taught that acceptance is the goal. Fit in, blend, make others comfortable. But fitting in is survival. Standing out is freedom. Because when you live for acceptance, you die a little every time you're misunderstood. But when you live authentically, you may not be understood by everyone, but you'll be understood by you. And that's the foundation for everything else. There is nothing more exhausting than trying to be liked by everyone. And there is nothing more liberating than being loved by a few for who you actually are. Real connection only happens when you stop performing, when you stop curating your personality, when you let your flaws breathe, when you let your story show. That's when the right people find you. That's when the right opportunities appear. That's when your life starts to align. But until then, it's going to feel lonely. Authenticity is lonely at first because the crowd is at the surface. The depth is where the few go. But don't mistake solitude for failure. That quiet space, that's where you rebuild, where you meet your real self again, where you remember who you were before the expectations, before the labels, before the pressure to succeed by someone else's definition. You don't owe the world a perfect version of you. You owe it a true one. Let them call you too much. Let them misunderstand. Let them go. Because every person who leaves when you show your real self is making room for someone who is waiting for that exact version of you. Be weird. Be soft. Be loud. Be still. Be passionate. Be awkward. Be everything they told you to hide. Because those are the things that make you you. And the world already has enough copies. It needs originals. It needs people who walk into rooms and bring truth with them. Not masks. Not roles. But truth. Don't chase approval. Chase alignment. Chase honesty. Chase peace. That kind of life, it's not always easy, but it's yours. And that makes it worth living. Your authenticity is not a weakness. It's not a liability. It's your superpower. It will repel some. It will inspire others. But most importantly, it will set you free. You might lose them, but you'll find you. And that's a trade worth making. Always. If this reminded you of the version of yourself you've been hiding from the world, then do just 3 things. Hit like if it spoke to your soul. Comment enough if you're done living a version that isn't real. And subscribe if you're ready to keep hearing the kind of truth most people are afraid to say. Because here we don't fake it. We speak it, even when it's heave.